Hey everybody, it's Scott Mitchell with It's My Game Kids Tennis Conference. Today I'm with Dejan, National Coach at Federation of Serbia. Dejan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Scott. I'm very happy to be the part of this beautiful conference.
Yeah, it's neat, isn't it? We've got over 20 speakers, 40 hours worth of expert content, including your information. It's going to be great. It's August 14th to the 23rd. Sign up, go to conference.evolve9.com to register. But tell me a little bit about what you do, maybe a little bit about yourself and what you do as a national coach over there in Serbia.
At the moment, I'm the national coach in Tennis Federation of Serbia. I'm on that position about 8 years. And I'm working with junior players, under 12, under 14. But also I'm working with the coaches on the coaches' education. Also I'm helping to the clubs to implement our program. We are a partner with Evolve 9 with under 10 program. Evolution Kids Tennis program is our official under 10 program, and I'm helping the clubs to implement that program in their environment.
Well, that's going to keep you busy for sure. So tell me a little bit about what you're doing with the, we'll get to the kids and how we can get more kids involved in a minute, but tell me a little bit more about the coach development part of your job and where are the key elements that you're focused in on with getting the coaches on the same page with growing our game?
When I work with the coaches in Serbia, so the most important is to educate the coaches to understand that working with the kids today, it's totally different than working with the kids in the past. In Serbia at the moment, we have a lot of coaches who are old and they keep with a classic approach, but things are changed rapidly and we need to be with the things together with, like the rest of the world. And in that way, we will have more kids in the course, we will have a better education for the kids. And that's actually it's the part of my job, what I do with the coaches in Tennis Federation.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing that a little bit in some of the areas around the world, including the United States, where we've got, most of our coaches are a little bit older. They've been around and coached in the same way. What are maybe some of the key elements with coaching kids these days that's different than what we were doing even 10 or 15 years ago?
What I see, the very important thing is about we need to know more about motivation the kids, the way how they learn, and how we need to organize environment about how to motivate them to be more on the court. Because in Eastern country, it's very popular to be very strict to the kids, that sometimes speak very negatively to them to try to motivate them to be a better. But I think that's not the way how the kids wants to be in the sport and how they want to be involved in the sport. Yeah, and I think all the coaches needs to go in that direction to find the right way to motivate the kids.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's one of the things that we're seeing all around is that what motivates the kids to be there is a lot of times, and in most cases, way different than what the coaches think is what the kids are there to be motivated by. So, yeah, that's neat. And I know that's a lot of work for you for sure. Tell me a little bit about your presentation. I know you're going to do a presentation for us. It's called Coaching Without Teaching, Building Great On-Court Environments, which is neat. I think that's something that a lot of the coaches would love to tune into. So tell us a little bit about your presentation.
So about my presentation, is going to be very interesting for me to present the way how I work with the players in my academy, how I work with the players also in National Federation. What I really like to do with the kids, it's to give them an opportunity to start to self-organize. So the most important for them is to start to self-organize in the match, because I'm working with competitive players. For me, the major thing is to learn my players to be self-organized, but also it's very important for me to learn them to reorganize in situation of the match. So what's mean to be adaptive on the match situation. And this is going to be subject of my team, and I will speak about that. And I will do a lot of drills on the court with my players through creating environment and not speaking a lot with them, and give them opportunity to learn just through the playing with restrictive area on the court.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an extremely important presentation, and I know you've had great success in your coaching career at all the different levels of players and ages. What areas do you think coaches need to focus in on the most when they're developing kids, under the age of 10, maybe under the age of 15? Are there areas that you and your team really focus in on to make sure that they have those key elements in place as they get better?
What I see, the major ages, it's under 10 and under 14. If you set up everything on the right way, then your player can be in the race to achieve to be the best professional players in the world. If you miss something when you are under 10, and if you miss with the player when they are under 14, so it's going to be very hard work to achieve something what you miss. And sometimes it can be very difficult, or sometimes it's impossible to achieve that.
Yeah, I think that's a key, isn't it? Yeah, as they start to develop, if they've missed something along that pathway, it's tough to get it back. Is there something that you really focus in on those kids that are under 10? Is it movement, is it tactics? What are some of the areas?
Under 10, very important is the motor skill for me, balance and coordination, and also the tactical task. That's really something what we in our club, in our academy, work with the kids, and that's the key element of our program. It's key element of evolution program. With under 14, we continue to do that, but also we add more mental toughness, work more on the fight with against adversity, and things how they need to reorganize and how they need to behave in the match situation.
Yeah, that's important for sure. What are, in Serbia, I know all the different areas around the world are a little bit different, but what are the challenges that you face there in Serbia with getting more kids involved in playing our sport?
So to have more kids in tennis in Serbia, the basic problem is video games. It's not enough information about the tennis. We have the story that the tennis is very expensive sport and it's not for everyone. And a lot of people don't want to bring the kids to the tennis because of that. Also in Serbia, the culture is, if you're not doing something good, you will change the sport, you will go to other sport and to try to be great athlete in other area or other sports. So that's also a big challenge for us. And in that situation, sometimes to be very difficult to keep kids in tennis for a longer period.
Yeah, and you mentioned the other sports. Do you find that the other sports compete with tennis, or do you have that philosophy that you think it's important for the kids to be playing other sports because that helps develop them as an overall player?
I think now it's very good that all our program, especially Evolution Kids, what we use for under 10, are giving opportunity to the kids to develop in every area. So I think now it's not important more to go to play other sports. It's better to stay in one sport and start to be committed to that sport than just moving from one sport to another sport. Also, the transfer of skills sometimes is not possible because in other sports there are a different skill than in the tennis.
Right.
And balance, coordination is something what you can have like a transfer from other sport, but specific things you cannot have a transfer with the players from other sports to a tennis. And that's why I not anymore suggest to the parents to go with other sports, because in Serbia we found it was difficult when you send them to another sport, and if they start to enjoy, they stay in that sport and they go out from tennis.
Right. Well, and the evolution program, as you know, is a great one, and it really develops a lot of those different key elements that we need the kids to be doing as they go through the pathway. Where here in the United States, the other sports a lot of times do benefit the kids when they play, just because a lot of the tennis programs aren't developing the kids in some of those areas. So you're right. The evolution program is, if people haven't seen it, they should check it out for sure, because it really does a great job with developing the kids.
And what is very interesting, when we start to use the evolution program, the kids stay in our program minimum 4 to 6 years. they don't go out from our program for that period. What I think it's very good for our business.
Right. Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's great. So
Yeah.
when you're dealing with, so we've talked a little bit about those kids that are under the age of 10. Where are the main areas of focus for those kids between 11 to 15 that you feel is important for your coaches to be working on with the kids?
You asking me about the kids between 11 and 15 years old?
Yeah.
I think the major thing it's working on mental toughness. So because the level of competition is much higher, and in that situation, I think technical improvement it's not a big advantage for the players if they cannot fight with adversity in match situation, and if they cannot handle emotion inside the match situation. So that's why I think working on the mental toughness it's very important for every player, and that's the key element in our junior program in our academy.
So we've had a couple of interviews so far, and you mentioned, and you're one of the first to do so, you mentioned the mental side and the mental training. Maybe what are the one or two things that you think that coaches should really be focusing on when it comes to the mental side? Do you do most of your training when it comes to during play, during situational play? Do you do off-court mental training as well?
So we do also off-court, on-court practice, but the most of the time it's on the court. And the most important thing what we do is emotion control. What is very important for us, because if you can control your emotion, you can fight with the fear, you can fight with high goals and the stuff like that. And this is the things what we do the most inside our program on the court with the players about mental toughness.
Wow, that's great. That's great input. I know the coaches are going to be excited to hear more about you and watch your presentation. What do you think is the thing that the coaches that will register for this conference, because this is one of a kind. We've never done something like this around the world, where we're getting coaches, international coaches, coming online in a virtual conference, sharing their insights, and they're all going to be a little bit different, which is neat. What's the one thing that you want people to know that they're going to take away from this conference and why they should register?
So the most important, they will get the high-class knowledge, because the speakers are so great. They have they have a lot of knowledge, and they will share the things who are very important at this moment about working with the kids. And also it's very important for the coaches. For the first time, they will have opportunity to have all presentation with them in the next 1 year. So the big problem what I see with the conference in the past, when you go, if you're not recorded, you don't have material with you. This is for the first time that they also will have opportunity to have the all material with them. What I really think is it's future of the coaches' education in the next years.
Yeah, it's neat, isn't it? I mean, this is a one of a kind conference where you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to travel. It's all online. You can watch it at your leisure. You get about 48 hours to watch a video presentation, and then jump online with some coaches to get a deep dive into topics. I mean, it's really, really neat. I think it's exciting for everybody. And Dejan, I'm excited to watch your presentation. I can't wait to see it. Thanks for your time. And we look forward to seeing your presentation in August 14th to the 23rd.
Scott, thank you. I'm very happy to be the part of this, and looking forward to see you also in this conference.
All right. Thanks for your time. Thanks, everyone. This is It's My Game Speaker Highlights.